I would like to welcome Parrot Eagle.
What?
Parrot
They
Eagle
keep
to
making me do that in my class. I'm so sorry.
I love that you're Parrot Eagle, Becca. Of all the titles in your life, how many titles do you have?
A decent amount, yeah.
A decent amount, and I usually call you like what, like Dr. Pastor Dr. Becca.
Yeah, those are some of the titles.
Some of them. Well, Parrot Eagle is one of them apparently as well.
Yes. So I'm taking a coaching for a leadership development class currently.
Right.
And there's a leadership development system that uses birds.
Why?
I don't know. They just do. It's just a way to categorize. And so we took like an assessment and it told us what we were. And so whenever we have our class, the teacher always makes us put our primary and secondary birds. So that's why every time I come on after I have class, it says Parrot Eagle.
Dodo bird. I'm a dodo bird.
Well, there's only 4.
Oh, I can't just pick one at random,
No.
like that I think emulates my personality the best.
No, there's parrots, eagles, owls, and doves.
Ooh, I'm definitely not a dove.
Doves, Lexi.
You're right. Doves.
Are you actually a dove? Did we change
No.
this?
No, it's a thing. I was just talking to Lexi about today. It's all woo-woo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
About like me having it's all woo-woo about me having a conversation with my higher power and blah 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 blah. Show me doves. And I don't know why doves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. Like it didn't make any sense to me because
God spoke to her in her garage.
I was gonna say, was it in a garage?
I feel like it might have been my version of the garage, and I'm not sure. So I was telling Lexi about it today when I was having acupuncture. Yeah, I was like, doves. I have no idea. And then you just said doves. So
Doves coming up.
Now like everyone's subjected to that story, which is complete woo-woo.
Well, now you need to like take that assessment and see if you're a dove. I don't think you are, but you could be.
What are the personality traits of a dove?
So like doves tend to be like more like harmonious and like wanting everyone to get along, but like very like willing to like step aside and like chill just to see how things happen. And
that's not Katrina.
Yeah, that's definitely not Katrina. And this is why I'm a parrot eagle and not a dove.
I'm like a dove in a china shop.
I would guess, Katrina, you're probably an eagle. That'd be my guess.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know the Dawn commercials? The Dawn commercials with the ducks that get the oil stuck on them and then they have to be washed off?
Yeah.
That's kind of like
me. I'm a duck covered in oil.
No,
right? I don't know what that says.
No.
I
didn't mean it like that. I just meant like I don't know what I meant.
I don't know, but you're of all people, you probably know me the best because you're a medical provider on top of being like my friend. So
I love you.
I really hope one day one of my close friends will say you are a dirty duck to me.
And I didn't mean like you're dirty. I was just like I meant like okay, no, this is what I meant. I meant like
just called me a dirty duck.
I didn't. Okay, so like they're like wounded and they want to be free and they're almost there and then they get clean and then they're like not just literally clean but just like ooh and then they're like fly away and there's like the song and a happy ending. That's your life. It's a happy ending of a free duck flying away. Wait, ducks don't fly, do they? Yes, they do.
Well,
wait,
sort of, a little bit.
They're like yeah. It's just
I don't know.
It's it's supposed to be happy.
But I'm a duck covered in oil. I feel like somehow it's my fault.
No,
I'm stuck in the oil.
Oh my god. This took a turn, friends.
I love you, Katrina. Right? That's not at all what I meant. It was supposed to be positive. It did not come out.
Oh my god. Woohoo.
This is what happens when I come on with like birds on my name.
Well, you know what? I love it. What else are we going to talk about on a Thursday night?
Exactly.
Um, speaking of what else we're going to talk about, we have some Seeking Sister Wife to talk about. Are you guys excited about the new season of Below Deck Mediterranean?
Yes, I love Below Deck.
I love Below Deck so much. Well, you guys know it's like, I've been talking about my Below Deck phase. There's now a new word, a new term in my vernacular, at which point I have to switch the TV from like court TV is my background noise, is my emotional support background noise. I have court TV on. And then at some point I switch it over to Below Deck, and that is now it's Below Deck o'clock. So I'm at my best in the morning. So I wake up, or I try to wake up, relatively not early, but like early for me, which is like 8, right? Doesn't always happen depending on how I slept, but especially right now during all of this. And so I try to be my most productive in the morning when I can take advantage of like my brain firing. It slows down as the day progresses, so it just stretches my day out longer because I have to take more and more breaks, which is fine. I mean, I work at home. What else do I have going on? It's fine. I mean, that's the whole point of being able to work at home. Is one of my reasonable accommodations is being able to do that. So, yeah. So at some point, it becomes Below Deck on the background.
Is it Captain Jason's sexy voice?
I just watched both seasons of Australia. I really want Captain Jason to come back. I don't know that we're going to see him.
He announced it on his Instagram.
That he is coming back?
For season 3.
They're doing a season 3 Australia. Now, Becca, you're looking at us quizzically. You don't watch any of the Below Decks.
I have a confession to make. I've literally never watched an episode of Below
Oh my God.
Deck.
Lexi and I are both very excited and got wide-eyed because we're like, ooh, we can send her on this rabbit hole and you will be tied up for months watching this.
It is a very good show.
It's very good.
I will tell you, one of the sound people on Lost Resort worked on Below Deck, one of the seasons.
Nice. I love the sound people on Below Deck.
Yeah. And she was telling me like what a nightmare it is because everything is so tight quarters. So like all the crew is like literally on top of each other while they're trying to film.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I always think of I pity the sound crew, but I also hate them and curse them because the way they do the kissing noises and the sex noises, because that's always put in after in post-production. That's never on the but they have to get the sound somewhere, right? So they have to I feel like some of them should get hazard pay for having to edit all this footage of all these naked people boning. And then yeah. So anyway, so I'm very excited about Below Deck.
I feel like the way you just described it just sounds like funny softcore porn.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't call it softcore porn, but I will say that the editors, their blurs are getting smaller and smaller.
I saw the clip you posted and I was like, you could literally see the whole penis. With the blur.
The pixelations didn't quite cover everything.
Becca, here's the penis, right? Normally in the past, right, it would be a full big block, right? No, this was just here's the blur.
And it was a movement. He was getting out of bed, so it was a movement. And the blur had to follow it. And it didn't quite keep up.
You're basically saying they just pixelated just the tip.
Just the tip. Listen to the bastard. Listen to the bastard.
I mean, we're talking about blurring out peni, so
peni.
I mean, is that the plural of penises? Penises sounds weird.
I don't know. Let me ask Siri.
I don't know. You're the medical one of us, Lexi.
She's the plural of penises.
It is penises. It's not like deer.
Right.
Peni.
Well, I've always argued plural of Jesus, right? You don't say Jesuses. So I'm always
only
joked
when
that
it's possessive, right?
Right. So I'm like, okay, so is it Jesus? What is the plural of Jesus?
But isn't there only one Jesus?
Well, not if you're hanging out with a bunch of Latinx folks. Everybody's
I don't
name.
know the
There's a
different
bunch of people
theology.
named Jesus. No, I'm talking about
Oh!
like like culturally.
Oh my God, you guys. I am okay. I have like about 5 functional brain cells and only 3 of them are operational at any given time. So it's like decision operation by consensus up there. And it's not always the best combinations.
All I know is Nelly Furtado's song just came in my head. I'm like a bird. I want to fly away. I don't know where my soul is.
Oh my god.
What is
I also
wrong?
have not heard that song in a very long time.
You're welcome.
Nice, nice. Okay, so we're going to talk about Seeking Sister Wife now that we're done talking about Below Deck for today anyway. I mean, I have so many comments. I just started. I was like, okay, what season do I want to rewatch? Because, I've seen all of them, right? Then I was like, you know what? There might be a med season that I haven't seen. And so I said, well, or maybe I haven't seen it that much. Like, I don't know. Like, I've only seen it. I don't know. So I went to the med season. I'm watching med season 1. And I remember how much I hate Hannah.
I never liked her. I never
Yes.
liked her.
Well, I find it fascinating going back and rewatching these seasons, like in some cases, 10 years after the original time
Mhm.
I saw them, right? And I've seen them since then. I mean, I've seen them, the seasons multiple times since then. But sometimes, like, those original thoughts I had about some of these people, like, I'm challenging them. Like, I go watch now and I'm like, oh no. Like, I hate Hannah. Why did I ever like her? Like,
Yeah.
you know? Or like whenever when I was watching and it was like, no, she's a the Australia season and just somebody that I was like on their side and I'm rewatching it. I'm like totally not on their side. I've totally flipped. They
You
have
flip the script.
totally flipped on all of these. And I think, it's just as I've gotten older and grown up and gotten more professional and like understand a work setting, I'm like, no, that's not a professional way of handling it. And then I remember these people are like 22 years old and they're all boning each other. So, they're not gonna have like the
Yeah.
management skills of a 50-year-old. So I'm watching it for what it is, but
Becca,
it
you and your
had
husband will probably like it.
Really? Why?
She's
my
good.
husband loves it.
Really?
Yeah,
I made
Interesting.
I think you will enjoy it. I think you would. I think what season should we send her to start with?
I think you should do Captain Lee season 2 because season 1 sucks.
Season 1 sucks.
Kate Chastain and Captain Lee.
Start
I
with
made
with regular Below Deck season 2.
yes,
Okay.
regular Blow Deck season 2. Don't even watch season 1. And
Don't watch
I
season 1.
no, I made Matt watch it, and it was one of those like, oh, I don't want to watch this. Oh wait, what happens next? Let's watch the next episode.
Yeah,
You
my
know what I mean?
husband went from watching it to like because I would have it on and he would be around, and then like to like, oh wait, can you pause that? Oh wait, can you? And then he went to, can you rewind that? And then it got to a point where it was like, okay, let's watch this whole season, this new season together.
And then it becomes what happens next.
Yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
gosh.
And we text each other in Below Deck all the time.
Nice.
Like all the time. Like, we'll say something completely messed up. The dog just puked or whatever. Okay, brilliant.
Brilliant.
That's totally a Frasierism, and and whenever the groceries get here, because we often will do like Wegmans, whatever the delivery would, and it's just some of the things that you need to do when you're disabled, right? They when they come, I'm always like, okay, I'll crew, provisions are on the
Provisions
deck."
are here.
Because when the groceries are here, we have a very specific way as a family that we put away groceries. It's like I stand here and baby frauded or baby step frauded stands here. Like we all have these very specific defined roles, and we get through putting away groceries like in an instant. So it's like when they get here, it's like, okay, I'll crew provisions.
That
on
is hilarious.
Yeah, it's sad, really.
If we win the lottery, guys, if I win the lottery, which I didn't, I got a bunch of scratch offs for my birthday. I won like $40 total. So that's
Oh,
not
that's
enough
not
to
going
pay
to take
for
us
a
on a
yacht.
yacht.
But if I do ever win the lottery, I will take you both on the yacht. Okay, I'm just
We
saying.
should record an episode on the yacht.
Oh yeah.
That would be so fun.
do we
Cortland, I'm
need?
talking to you. Send
What do
us
we
on a
need?
yacht.
100K. How much are the charters? They're discounted when you do the show, right? So it's
Are
like what,
they?
40?
I
Yeah,
don't
they
know
get like a
anything.
little
I don't know
discount.
any of the details about that. I really should
Mhm.
find out.
See, and then Katrina will finally be the last one of us to be on reality TV. if we
There you
did
go.
that.
There you go.
No.
Sharp or TLC or I'm sorry, Bravo. Obviously, Below Deck's on Bravo.
51 Minds is the production company.
Okay. They're gonna do their research, find Katrina's Instagram profile, and be like, oh.
Right. Right, man.
She's
I
gonna
would
dig up all the dirt.
I would do,
Oh,
oh God, it would be so fun. It would be
It would-
so much fun. I would go even do Adventure. And Adventure is the season. Don't watch Adventure, Becca. It's the Tiffany Trump of the dynasty. Yeah, it was done by a different production company, and so they had it was very first seasony, and I guess Bravo decided not to continue and stuff. And it's just
I turned it off. I never finished it.
yeah, it's not done well. So
Mhm.
it's the Tiffany Trump in that it's the outlier, you
Right.
know, the
Got it.
Marla Maples kid. Just explaining that for anybody
Got it.
else.
I feel like the way you're describing Below Deck with like all the different seasons feels like it's almost like the Real Housewives franchise of like all the different places.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah.
I've never
it's
watched
just-
The Real Housewives.
but it's similar, but it's a different I guess, yeah, I mean, yeah, it would be very similar because you've got the crew, you've got it's like sort of the drama amongst the crew, and the setting is the boat, the fact that they're working on this boat. So you have these peripheral characters, which are the, charter guests or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is like, I guess, like the housewives, you've got the housewives, their
The main people, yeah.
their interactions set against the society, their city.
Yeah. Lexi, I will tell you didn't miss much. I've watched exactly one season of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, and I was like, why did I do this? It was just boring most of the time. I'll just say it. Like, I just found it really boring.
Well, what I like,
there wasn't as much other options in our streaming options. We didn't have TV on demand as much as we do now. So it was like, if you wanted to watch trashy reality TV and it was a Thursday night, like that was your option. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's fair. It was
what I like
around
about
this-
Below Deck is that it's like the working class, like the people on the
Mhm.
boat are like hardworking, people. And then you see the struggle between them and like just the ultra rich, just some are really awful and some
Yeah.
are great. So you get to see like the real, well, what was real. I feel like season 1 and 2 was more real. Obviously, it gets faker and
Right,
faker as reality TV progresses, but
But it somehow has maintained such an authenticity about it.
it's
I
way more
guess
authentic than 90 Day, that's for sure.
there's only so much you can produce when your cast members are literally rowing a boat. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like they have a really hard job to do and it's really dangerous and they have to do it. You can't produce much with them on that, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, it's different in their interviews and things like that, but and how they construct it. But they also keep it really fresh because there's people that they have on repeatedly, but then there's also people, it's also always fresh. It's even fresh within the seasons because they lose people and gain people within the season. So it always stays fresh. It doesn't get stale. The storylines are always like, what's the main thing's going to be this time? How crazy is the chef going to be? Who's going to get fired?
Oh yeah, the chefs are the best part. One of the best parts of the show because they're
Really?
batshit crazy.
Yes.
Ben is still my favorite. I don't care.
Well, that's what Ben is on season 1 of Med, and Ben is on season 2, the one we're sending you to.
Yeah.
It's Captain Lee, Kate, and Ben, which are like the trio that are great.
Mhm.
Anyway, we're big Below Deck fans around here. So, anyway, so Cortland, whenever you're ready to send us, as a podcast out there, we're happy to do that.
I remember I slid into Jason's DMs and he responded. Then I
Yeah,
never followed
Captain
up.
Jason, you guys are
Yeah.
talking all like health shit.
We were. God, he's sexy. Oh, he is. Do me a favor, Becca. Just when you get off this, podcast, just Google Captain Jason. He
I
is
mean, I can
gorgeous.
do it right now.
Do it. Captain Jason below deck. Tell me you want to. You're
Is he
married,
going to be in the
obviously.
budgies?
I was gonna say I have a Google box in my pocket. I can.
A Google box in your pocket.
That sounds dirty. It wasn't
It
dirty.
does sound dirty. What
Google
does your Google box do? Is that
What's
what
his
we
name?
called it?
Captain what?
Captain Jason.
Jason. Okay.
Below deck.
All right. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. He's pretty hot.
Yeah. And the thing is, he's really down to earth. Like there was a
Yeah.
plumbing problem.
He
and
looks like
he
he's
was like,
sweet.
he was
Mhm.
in there fixing the plumbing problem because he used to be a plumber. He's the captain of the goddamn ship, and he's in there literally with
Scooping
his
shit
hand and
out.
shit. You
Wow.
know,
A
So-
man that knows how to use his hands. Okay.
I love that you just turned scooping crap into sexiness.
Anything past 9 p.m. is my brain is just, I don't know, just starts acting crazy.
Very impressive.
Hmm
I read somewhere that was like, don't trust anything, like any decisions or anything like you feel or whatever. Like, don't trust anything if it's after 9 p.m.
Whoever said that is a brilliant genius.
I
It might have
think
been.
that's probably
It might have
really
been
smart.
Nick. It might have been Nick. He probably was sitting around
Oh
thinking.
God, Galileo, Nick.
he was probably the one that came up with that quote.
After 9 p.m. though.
Right. Because he doesn't have to get up for work, so he can stay up late.
When he was no doubt up with a baby, I'm sure.
That's debatable. I don't know. I feel
Yeah,
like
that was sarcasm.
Oh, I was like he was too busy in the boom boom room.
Oh my gosh.
Does he ever sleep in the regular bed instead in the boom boom room every night? Because he's got 3 different wives.
Does he rotate the wives in the boom boom room throughout the night, or is it a night? I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, because it's like, why do they need a bed to sleep that many people?
If 2 of them are always going to be out, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but
I don't know, but if
I guess the assumption then is 2 of them aren't always out. So
Right.
when are they having the boom boom time?
I don't know, but if they keep adding any more wives to the picture, they're going to need some sort of like pull-out couch or a futon or maybe a cot or something to add on to the edge of the bed.
At the beginning of the season, they had just gotten the new bed. Remember, they were making the bed and they were talking about how they got it extra wide to plan for another wife. And Lexi, you were all confused because they said we got it extra wide just in case and you were thinking they were doing like acrobatic sex on it.
I still
And I
think
was
they're all
like, no,
having
that was
sex.
because they were going to have another wife get in there. That was the storyline of the season.
I'm not convinced that he doesn't like sleep with them all maybe they don't sleep with each other, the women, but I have this feeling that he somehow engages in sexual behavior with all of them in that bed. I don't know. I just have a feeling.
Oh yeah. I like the boom boom room isn't the exclusive boom boom room. As it were.
No.
It's not like boom boom is not exclusive to that room.
Right.
Well, meanwhile, I didn't have any of these questions. I just want to know where you buy sheets for a 12-foot bed.
That's a legitimate question.
Right?
Yeah.
You should use the Google box.
I should ask
The Google box in your
box.
pocket.
I'm never going to live that down, am I?
I love it.
I'm gonna ask Will about your Google box.
Oh my God. He's
Um,
just going to look at you weird if you say that. You know that.
Yeah.
He's just going to be like, what?
what? These aren't your pastor friends, are they, Becca? No, we're not.
They
We're
need
the other
Jesus,
side.
though. They need Jesus.
They need Jesus.
We all need
Jesus.
Jesus,
They need,
friends.
they need Jesus.
We all need a Jesus. Therefore, multiple Jesuses.
Multiple. Hey, Susai.
Yes.
Oh my God. I'm dead. I'm legit dead. Okay.
This episode was so boring and not filled with anything that we're just talking at
It's
this
fine.
point. Because it's going to take 10
Fine.
seconds to go.
It really is. I was thinking about that watching it. I was like, okay, so they only did 3 out of the 5 couples. And it
Yeah.
wasn't even like anything humongous. It was just
So which couple do
there.
you want to talk about first?
I feel like we should talk about the Salahuddin couple because this was just
Yeah, the
weird.
Reddit.
Now I will say I started off my notes with saying first cousins question mark. Becca, you talk about that since you're the one that found that.
Well, I think Katrina should start because Katrina
Okay,
found.
so
Yeah.
I saw somewhere on the interwebs a reality TV group. Somebody had posted this screenshot from Reddit, and it was like one of the daughters or something that was talking about saying that the two Salahuddin people are first cousins. Discuss.
Now, did you guys catch that? I put the caption on to see if I heard correctly. There was a scene that we're going to discuss,
The
and
daughter.
Nyla called Naeem's mom auntie. Did you guys hear that?
Yes.
Yes.
But
Yes.
but at first I was like, okay, I've lived in Hawaii and everybody's auntie there. So, and in certain cultures, every woman a certain age and older is going to be auntie, right?
But they're not first cousins.
But if you put it against the backdrop of are they first cousins, it makes it like, oh, maybe she meant it literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, right. So I went down a rabbit hole, friends, and I decided to look up where it is legal and illegal in the states to get married to your first cousin, because why not?
And I was
And
shocked.
so 24 states prohibit marriages between first cousins, and 20 states in the District of Columbia allow cousins to marry, and 6 states permit first cousin marriage only under certain circumstances. I do not know what those circumstances are.
What?
I didn't get that far. But
Chances.
yeah. So, but fun fact, they live in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, right?
Right.
It is illegal in Pennsylvania to marry your first cousin. So they must have married elsewhere. I mean, there's
Do you even think
bordering.
they're legally married? Or do you think
Maybe they're
just
not.
Oh, maybe that's fair. Or maybe they just lived somewhere else first. It's
Yeah.
legal in New York State, which is just across the border. So
Right,
maybe they
right,
got
right.
married in New York.
Could
and
be.
then
Yeah.
maybe
I
they
don't know.
came to Maryland?
They could have. Yeah. Hold on. Let me check. Yes, it is legal in Maryland. It is also legal in New Jersey because everything is legal in New Jersey.
What about Virginia?
Yes, also legal in Virginia.
What about
Yeah.
West Virginia?
Wait,
It is
wait a
not
minute.
legal
no,
in West
stop.
Virginia.
No,
It's
stop.
not legal?
No,
No.
stop. Wait, we got to go back to Virginia for a second. We can't have porn, but you could marry your first cousin.
That's why you don't
Correct.
need porn. You just bang your cousin, Katrina. You're that desperate.
I don't want to bang anybody but my
Neither do
husband.
I. I don't want to bang my cousins, but I'm just saying, like,
I want porn. I don't want to be able to marry my cousin. Like, I feel like the amount of people who want to marry their cousin is very, very, very much smaller than those who want porn in the state of Virginia.
right.
Fuck you, Glenn Youngkin. Are we going to do something about this? What is going on?
How I just think it's crazy though that and like the jokes about West Virginians marrying their
Yeah,
cousins, and that's
it's
the state where it's
illegal.
illegal.
Yeah, it's also illegal in Delaware, but it's
Huh.
legal in New Jersey, Maryland, DC, Virginia, New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut.
Would you officiate a wedding between first cousins, Becca?
Oh,
I mean, if it's legal, I guess. I've never been asked that question. I've gotten a lot of other strange questions about marriages, but not that one.
Ooh, can you share any
So I did a wedding
that might be
once.
fun?
Yeah. Well, there's been a couple, but I think my favorite one was it was a couple who wasn't connected to the church really. And this is why I stopped doing a lot of those weddings because they just
Whoa.
but like they legitimately
One guy ruined it for everybody.
yeah, there's been like multiple of those, but one of them they like knew someone who knew, like they were like the neighbor of someone who knew someone or something, and so I was like, okay. But they I always send couples like the plan for the worship service, right? Like I send them, like the order of the worship service and what it looks like, and that way they can ask questions or like change things, certain things, right?
Mhm.
And I got an email back from the bride, and she was like, how come at the end you don't say by the power invested me by the state of New York, I pronounce you blah blah blah? And I was like, because the power invested in me isn't the
Doesn't come
state,
from the state.
it's from God. Do you want me to say the power invested in me from God?
Oh my God.
And they were like, no, that's okay.
Oh
I
my
mean,
goodness.
yes, the state lets me legally marry you, but like, I'm clergy. I'm not a judge.
Right. It's a different avenue. All right. Okay. I mean, fair. Okay. Sure.
That was a weird one. There have been multiple where I was just like, this is. It's funny too because like I don't have any like weird stories about funerals. Like no one cares about stuff at funerals. It's weddings because reality TV has totally ruined weddings for clergy because everyone thinks they can do like whatever the heck they want
Ooh.
in weddings.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what? Like what?
So the first wedding I was ever supposed to do when I was ordained. I can't believe I'm telling this story. So the first wedding I was supposed to ever do, I inherited from my predecessor who had retired.
Okay.
So he had done like the premarital counseling stuff. And then like literally I started as pastor and they were getting married like 3 weeks later. And so the guy who retired was clearly checked out, right? Like he was like, I'm not gonna be here, whatever. So he barely even like filled out the forms for them. And didn't give them any guidance about the actual like wedding ceremony because he was piecing out. And so I inherit this couple who didn't really have a connection to the church and they were getting married in 3 weeks. And they basically tried to dictate to me what music they were going to have during the worship service. And I told them, I was like, listen, like I'm pretty flexible. Like you can do like instrumentals of pretty much anything during the worship service, but if there's lyrics, like once the worship service starts, like it needs to have some form of spiritual like theme, right?
If it's a worship service, yeah.
Right, like it's in a church, I'm pretty flexible about that, but like you can do whatever you want, like before the worship service as people are gathering, do whatever music you want, and afterwards when it's done and everyone's peacing out, like do whatever music you want. I was like, but there needs to be some sort of spiritual theme to the music during the worship service. And so I get an email back and they're like, "Oh, great news, Pastor Becca. Like, there's one line in this song that's like, God helped me find you." I was
Oh my
like,
God.
no, that doesn't really count. I was like, if you want to have that before or after the worship service, like have at it. But like, we really need stuff. I was like, if you want to do an instrumental of that, sweet.
So can I do I have a spiritual connection to the Red Hot Chili Peppers Suck My Kiss. Can I play that?
I mean,
If I had a spiritual experience during college in a
what kind of
parking
spiritual
garage on the hood of a
experience?
car to that song, can I use that because it was a spiritual experience? Or does it have to be the instrumental version?
Probably instrumental version, but I'd be willing to like have a conversation about that.
All right.
But like it became like this whole thing, and like it got to the point where the groom was literally yelling at me on the phone.
Oh my gosh.
And he was like, who can I talk to about this? And I'm like, I'm the pastor. There's no one else to talk. Like, you can't go over my head. I run the congregation. Like, you can't.
Like, it's me.
And he was like, oh, well, okay.
You don't have to get married at my church, you
Well,
know?
that was the thing. I was like, he was like, well, we're friends with like Judge whomever. Like, maybe we should get married by them. And like, I'm like, maybe you should. Maybe like a Christian wedding ceremony isn't for you.
Yeah.
And then it got really quiet. And he's like, well, okay, bye. And then hangs up. And then I get an email from him like a couple hours later. And he's like, can the judge marry us at the church? And I'm like, no.
Oh my God. These people.
Yeah. I was like, no, that's not a thing we're doing. And so they had to like change the location of the wedding. I didn't do the wedding.
All because of the music?
Yeah. They weren't willing to like budge on
clearly,
that.
like you said, maybe a Christian wedding wasn't for them.
Which is totally fine, right?
Right.
Like, I'm totally fine with that. Like, I was no skin off my nose. I didn't need to do this wedding. If you decide that's not for you, it's not for you.
I love that you said that to him and it made him go, oh wait,
Yeah.
maybe she's right. Like he's yelling at you like, I can't have the wedding I want. Well, you don't have to have the wedding like with me.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so then I had to tell our church council, which is like the governing body of our church in Lutheran circles, and I had to like tell them what happened. And I have only been serving these people for like 2 weeks, right? Like I've only been their pastor for 2 weeks, and
You're
like
like, I
everyone,
pissed them off and they left.
right? And so like everyone is just sort of staring at me, and I can't like read anyone for like how they're reacting to this. And finally, one of them was like, "Our pastor is morals,"
Oh,
and that was it.
Amen.
So anyway, so that's why I was always hesitant to like, I didn't take anyone who wasn't connected to the church in any way, shape, or form. Like you had to have some connection to the church. And of course, then I had ones that were like friends of a friend of a friend or something. But yeah, that was the very first wedding that I could have done that I did not do.
wild.
It was
Fascinating.
so crazy. Like I still tell that story and I'm like, I cannot believe that happened.
I love
There's
that.
always like a sense of entitlement around a lot of people too. Like this is your church, right? Like
Yeah.
this is your.
Well, that's like what I'm saying is like when you told him, like, well, maybe a Christian wedding isn't for you, you know, and he thought about it, you know.
Yeah.
A sense of entitlement.
I rewrote all the wedding policies after that for our church. So it was very clear.
I'm just thinking about how in my church the wedding service is like 3 hours long, and there's
You're
like
Greek
what
Orthodox though.
Russian Orthodox, yeah.
Russian
Well,
Orthodox,
right.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a very different story. Like literally weddings, unless you do communion for Lutherans, like Catholic weddings are usually about an hour because it's a full mass. But like
Yeah.
for Lutherans, they can be as short as like 20, 25 minutes if you're not doing all the bells and whistles.
Mm-hmm. I
Which
know
is
there's like
crazy.
walking around
I don't know.
crowning.
I think I would love to go to a Russian Orthodox wedding.
All
I
my
would
parents'
too.
friends said that was like like so beautiful. They had never seen anything like it.
Exactly.
Something different, but you
You guys
stand
ever
up
watch the
and
TV show Four Weddings?
Mhm.
I was addicted to that. I don't even want to get married, and I really
Oh my
sort of
god,
feel like I watch that show.
love that show so much, and it's still on. They still show it on like I don't know some random day on TLC. So I added it to my library on my YouTube TV, and so now I have all of them right there. I mean, I think you could go to TLC and on the streaming service or whatever, but so
See,
now they're there, and I just watch them whenever, just like I don't know what I'm in the
Yeah.
right mood for. It's like,
I liked it at first, and then they just got mean to each other.
Yeah, they were mean.
yeah,
It, at first it wasn't. At first it was just kind of like, oh, this could have been better, like whatever. But then like it got to the point where it was like, this food is disgusting, and I'm like, geez.
yeah.
There's
Well,
always some like really rich like bride that is never satisfied, and then there's like
there's
one that
some
doesn't
are
have a
just
fancy wedding but is really nice and kind, and I don't know. There's just like
there's
these
some that are just
dynamics.
hilarious, and there's some that are just like super tacky, and there's
Mhm.
some that are just like, how did anybody think that was a good idea? And there's
Did you guys
others
remember the Halloween or the one in the
Yes.
castle?
Yes,
that was
I do
cool.
remember that one.
the woman, the crazy woman, or the nice woman. There
I
was
think
like
she was.
two castle ones.
Oh,
There were
I think
two
it's-
castle ones. Oh man, I don't know which one I'm remembering then.
It was
Oh.
like it was like Halloween themed almost. Like
Okay,
everything-
yeah, no, and she was all mad because she lost, and she spent so much money on her wedding, and
She did. She had a lot of
She
money.
was mean and bitchy, and yeah, there's just there. Oh my god, so I watched a bunch of them when I was in the lead up to when I got married a couple years ago, right? And so the joke was always, we got married on the beach, right? And so the joke is like, oh, it's, it was too sunny, and there was, sun was in my eyes, and it was too sandy, and the waves were too loud, and I couldn't hear the service over the waves, and 6 out of 10.
Mhm.
Because they would always bitch about stuff that is not like stuff that I don't know, like whatever.
Most
I don't
people
know.
care about anyway.
Or
Yeah.
that you can control. Like
Right.
I marked her down because the guests were just so rude in the way they danced.
They were so drunk.
You just bitch. You voted her down because of her family. Like what?
Yeah.
I mean, guys I've dated have done that. So
Zing!
All right, we're back. The Salahuddin family, they are going out to eat with their friend, who's probably not even their real friend, Jahari, who is in a
Right.
Oh, this was
relation.
her internet friend that she met through a polygamist circles.
Right. So Jahari is a bisexual female who is dating a couple, and she's
Not
dating both of them.
polygamous. She's just
Right.
polyamorous.
Right.
Right.
Sorry.
And they
sorry.
don't all live together either, which I thought was interesting. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's just banging them basically. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and they invite Naeem's mother to lunch because that's a good idea, right?
So it's another stupid scene with the mother, only this time it gets worse.
Yes.
Now, if we're to
Yes.
believe this scene at face value, let's discuss it as if this were really happening. Like if this is all not producer plan. Like,
Right.
because they're, obviously there's
Well,
storyline built into this.
they introduce Jahari to his mother, and they explain like who she is and whatever. And so her mom, I think, was at first his mom was thinking, wait, is she dating, my son, or what's going on? And he's like, no, not dating her or whatever. And then it turns into an argument pretty quickly, and I'm not sure exactly how it escalated so fast.
Well, it
Do
was
you guys
like
know what?
she's like,
Yeah.
okay, are you dating my son? Oh no. And she's like, good, because I would have just gotten up and walked out. Because no,
There you
that's
go.
not for me. And
Right.
then
Well, it really escalated when the mom brought up the kid. I
oh
think that's
yeah.
when it really like took off. And then it like was in the, like ether when she was like, I'm gonna come over there and slap your face. And
Right.
that's when
Well-
not Nyla was like, no.
Well,
So,
see what
here's the
happens
thing,
when
though.
you do.
So mom is upset about them dating another woman, but she's not upset about them dating each other because they're first cousins.
Apparently.
Make it make sense.
Maybe
don't
they're
get it.
not first cousins.
Yeah.
Maybe this is all producer storyline.
I think they are first. I mean, that chick, the daughter, commented. I don't know. I
And
feel
then
like
another kid commented too. Like there were multiple kids that commented, right?
Allegedly. I mean, I don't know. I didn't vet any of them, so I don't know
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
authenticity of any of it. But the Reddit says that they're first cousins. So
yeah. So
Did
what was said about the daughter? I missed that part.
Yeah,
That's the part I
yeah.
missed.
go back to
Yes.
that.
So basically what the whole point was, so Nyla made a point in one of the interviews that they cut to that her mother-in-law seems to just keep like changing her reasoning for why she
Right.
doesn't want them to do this lifestyle, right?
Right.
So like first it was Germany, and then it
Yeah.
was like whatever, and now it's like she's using the daughter as an excuse. But then it turns out as the argument progresses, we figure out the mother-in-law actually has no relationship with the daughter at all.
But what
Right.
but what was it she was saying was the problem?
That like you think of the children, basically. That's how I
okay.
would phrase it.
What will the children think? Won't someone
Yeah, like think of the children. And Nyla's like, have you talked to her? Like
We
Right.
talked to her. Have you?
right. And that's when it like really escalated. And I thought what was interesting about it for me is like whenever those things blow up, I always watch the peripheral people because I think that's more interesting.
Yes.
And like because I'm always that peripheral person when like things blow up. But anyway, Johari is like, be a queen, stop.
Right.
Like,
Mhm.
right. So she's trying to de-escalate. And then meanwhile, I don't know if y'all catch this, but there was like a manager that
Yes.
came.
Oh, I think that was a producer.
Oh, it
This
looked like
the
a manager to
second
me.
time- So yeah, this
Really?
woman comes through the second time I watched it, because I watched it twice. I noticed her more because I was looking for her this time. She had like a headset on. She had the
Oh,
hip pack thing, that looks like and she had like a clipboard. She looked very producer-y. Like I don't know
oh.
if she was coming to get Mama because Mama was making physical threats, or they were done filming, or the restaurant was going to kick him out. So the producer was like, stop. Like, I'm not sure, but I think that was a producer.
It's interesting
Interesting.
that you say that because I was wondering why the manager of the restaurant would come out and like do the like cut like hand motion and then like run away.
Right.
We don't want a lawsuit. No physical violence. Nobody.
Right. But it does
right.
make sense because it was like the producer ran in, realized they were in the shot, and then it was like, oh, and then like ran out.
Trying to get him to stop the scene, but
Yeah.
then they ended up using it. So
They did. It's
you
funny
do?
because as I've like been more noticing of this, there's so many times on reality TV where like producers get caught in the shot. periodically.
Oh,
And
yeah,
not on
I guess.
purpose, right? Like
Yeah,
not
yeah.
when they're actually talking to the producer and like they want that in there, but like
Right.
when they're filming and it's like they can't find a way to edit it out because like they just happen to be in the shot.
Yeah. My favorite part of that was when what's her name? Jahari starts drinking the cocktails.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
she was
oh,
going out and then she stopped. I'm going to take a shot.
I was like, you get it, girl.
Oh my god.
How immature was the mom? Can we talk about this?
Yeah.
She was like, mothers don't act like that. Talk like she was digging and digging purposely with intention to
Mhm.
really make her feel like a piece of shit.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
my
This
Totally.
whole like demanding respect simply because I'm your mother-in-law, despite anything that I may have said or done to you, you still have to respect me. That I don't like.
yeah.
Like I get like respect your mother-in-law, like respect these people. Yes. But if the
So-
person's
That's a big
treating
part
you-
of Black culture, though, is like respecting your elders even when they're
even
being
when
difficult. I'll just say that. Like,
okay.
and the only reason
That
I say
makes
that
sense.
is because that came up on my show and with Robin and Christine, because you know the
Mhm.
mother-daughter, and Veron constantly took Robin the mom's side because his argument was you should always respect the mom.
Always. Yeah, I guess that is a culture thing. Thank you. Thank you for educating me on that. Because otherwise I'd be like, I mean, my general thought is just because somebody's family just is a general thing. Like just because somebody's family does not mean you don't need to set boundaries with them. Like it's okay to set boundaries with and it's necessary to set boundaries with family. Because they often there are a lot of toxic family members, and just because they're your family doesn't mean you have to have them in your life. See so many people that are like, yeah, but he's my dad. It was like, well, you can set boundaries. Like you don't have to let him do this or say this or like, and I don't know, like it's hard obviously because what you grow up with and where your
Absolutely. And
culture.
especially if you grow up with somebody that's your aunt and your mother-in-law at the same time. Does that change the dynamics of like, does it make it more intense?
Oh my God. Does she have to double respect her?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. These are
Fair.
late night thoughts.
What are we gonna do? Oh, God.
Yeah. So that was basically the end of that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it took us like the whole episode to get through that scene, which was like
Yes.
interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they kept doing just snippets of it. So
Yeah.
that was that. That was their whole scene. What about the Davises? Let's go
Oh,
to the Davises.
Davises. Let's talk about this girl that they went on a date with. Okay, so the wives go on a date with a girl named Jasmine, who they met on one of their dating profiles. She is 30 years old and is, quote, looking for a situation like that, which I kind of
Yeah,
find hard to
because she
believe.
wants stability for her kid.
Right.
I don't know how you get from the first one to this. Like, I understand why that situation is more stable, but I feel like there's a lot of missing like pieces
Yeah,
throughout that.
absolutely.
Well, and her kid's 11, so I was like doing math, and I was like, okay, so she had him at 19,
Okay.
Mhm.
All
so
right.
she was relatively young.
All right.
Yeah, it looks like they're at like some sort of brewery or I don't know. There's games outside, and April wants Dannielle to ask her the
There was
hard
no axe
question.
throwing though.
No axe throwing. No.
I was expecting it because these places that have these big lawn games and these giant Jenga games, sometimes they're like outside of axe throwing places.
I will say though, after seeing Dannielle with the bat in the break room or whatever rage room, I am a little fearful of her holding an axe. So I'm glad nobody got injured on
They
the
need
date.
training from Shane and Ashley.
Yes, they just need a reunion special where they learn how to axe throw, and I don't know.
And then Ashley can hook up with Dannielle Davis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think Cody and Naeem's mom should hook up too, even though she hates polygamy. They're both narcissistic assholes.
They would not last.
No, but they'd probably. I don't know why.
Cody from Sister Wives.
Can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dog pulled out the cord a little bit.
No.
Just the tip.
He pulled out.
Yeah. Anywho, so they're out on the date and they're asking her these questions, and she's giving them very positive and optimistic answers without really truly being real. And I think Danielle saw through it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds great. Everything sounds great. I would love this. It sounds great, or whatever.
Jealousy not a thing. Okay.
Can
I
we
mean, I
talk
guess I'll
about-
sleep in the same bed with all of y'all.
Yeah. Can I also talk about the weird comment about when they asked her how she felt about Nick staying at home and the women work? And
This
she was
true.
like, this was so weird. And she's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, my family was a pride. She's like, well, most people grow up in like a wolf pack where like
Uh-huh.
the the alpha male goes out and like the women stay home. And she's like, my growing up was more like a pride where like the men stayed home and the women went out. And so the strongest should stay at home.
Yeah, that made no sense.
I was like,
I-
what?
That is exactly Nick's philosophy, I think.
Mhm.
So it's like, how is that? How are you answering that question that exact on the nose?
It's
Like,
almost like she watched the entire season last season and knew what to say and wanted to date them to be on TV. I don't know. Just thought.
yeah. I mean, I did think it was funny when they're like, she's agreeable to everything. That's a kind of a red flag. It's like, what? It's a red flag if they don't agree with anything, and it's a red flag if they do agree. Okay, whatever. But
What?
in this situation, it was kind of because she was so just generically agreeable on all these things that I feel like require bigger conversations
Well,
if
yeah, and
you're
then
entering into this.
the fact that she talked about like wanting to have as many babies as possible to populate the
Populate
world.
the world.
It was so weird.
These are things that I just like. That's just weird to me. I don't know. It was
Well, and she also hasn't been pregnant in 11 years.
yeah.
So I'm like, I feel like pregnancy at 19 versus pregnancy in your 30s are going to be a very different experience for you.
A little bit.
Uh-huh.
A little bit. So
Yeah.
This kind of goes back to my whole thought about all of these couples so far, is that like I don't know, like dating in my experience as a monogamous person, you I've been married a few times, gone through this a few times, but I feel like you kind of just let things happen, right? Like you build up and and then the relationship develops and you get married because you can't live without each other, because you want to spend that time together. The rest of your life together. You want to make that commitment together because of that person, because of who that person is. Whereas in these cases, they just want a person who's agreeable to their lifestyle. And they're not wanting to be in a relationship with the person for the person. They don't want them to join their family because of the person of who they are. They want them to join their family because God told me I was going to have 5 wives. And you're here, you check the boxes right now, so why don't you come in? I mean, like they go into these dates quizzing these people about, do you like this? What about this? Okay, you check all the boxes. It's great. Now go meet him. Now we're going to all date and get married.
Yeah.
And it's like, is that really realistic about developing and establishing like genuine relationships? Like, no,
I don't
I'm
think
gonna
some
say.
of these people are capable of that. I think that it's this egotistical, like this ego boost that these men are getting mainly from having multiple women basically fight over the attention without literally fighting over, but they're literally their egos are stroked all day long because these women have to compete with one another at some level. I don't care what they say that there's no jealousy and there's no that. Yes, there is. In these situations, I think there is. I don't care.
Yeah,
What
and
anybody says.
and the people who are genuine about living this lifestyle, like the Wideners, for all of their whatever, boringness, they were all genuinely happy living this lifestyle for religious reasons.
Was that the pharmacist guy?
He wasn't a pharmacist, was he?
Okay.
No.
There was one with a guy with 2 women. One was pregnant and the other one was really upset because she couldn't have more babies.
Yeah, that's them.
Yeah, but there was still jealousy there. They still shared
Yeah,
that.
and that's my point, is that they talk about it. They have jealousy and they work through it, and they have this whole, and Becca, maybe you can elaborate on what you might know about this, but they talk about it as, oh, it's like a gift from God about if I can work through this. You want to explain that part a little
Yeah,
bit?
so they came from the Mormon tradition, if I remember correctly.
I think, yeah.
And for Mormons that practice polygamy, often like it's like to help you grow spiritually. Like having those moments of jealousy is like a way that God is helping you grow and like work through that so that you can
Uh-huh.
follow God more, basically.
Right. Okay. So even them, right? They establish it. It's a thing you have to do. And you heard like Christine and them talk about this on Sister Wives all the time. So for this woman to come in and be like, "Oh yeah, I don't get jealous of anything. It's fine." And be like, "Oh, what's your pet peeve?" "Oh, when my son just repeats things over and over and over." Like that's not a pet peeve. That's just an annoyance. Like pet peeve is slow walkers. Like my pet peeve is drivers who don't pull up to the car closer to the car in front of them at stop signs, stop lights, carpool, pickup, like whatever. Pull up. Have
Yeah.
some situational awareness. That's a pet peeve.
Yes.
My child going, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, look at this Minecraft thing." Look, like that's annoying as shit after 3 hours of it. But I wouldn't call that a pet peeve.
No,
Like,
I don't think she knows what a pet peeve
no,
means.
this woman's answers just didn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And the fact that Nick is sending out his women, I know we talked about like the reasons why a lot of times the women will initiate the dating and find the partner. I get that. But I think that Nick is just lazy. Like, I don't think he wants to do any work. I think he just wants his women to go out and literally do everything.
Agree. I think you're right. And he gaslights them into thinking that it's them having the power and the driving force of the relationships when it's really him.
It's manipulation. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
making them think it's
Yeah.
them to give them more quote power, but in reality,
Like Cody and Robin.
right?
Mm.
I don't know.
He also said that when he saw a picture of her, she was pleasant to his eyes. It was just like a weird
Yeah. His
comment.
eyes were happy or some
It
nonsense.
was something like that. Did you write it down, Lexi?
I did not.
Oh, it was
I
It
something
was
like
his way of saying she was hot. And yeah, I agree she was hot. Although I have a problem with the septum nose rings.
Mm.
Is that what that is?
You don't like those?
I don't like the septum one. The ones that like
Yeah.
hers. If it was like a small hoop, like or something that's different, and like the ones you guys have, each of you have. God, I not only have I not been on a reality TV show, but I don't have a nose ring. I like your guys's. Hers was like the not a complete circle, but like the barbell, like it reminds me too much of like a bull cow thing.
So that's what my parents actually said when I was gonna get my nose pierced because they didn't realize like you can just put like a little stud. So they were like, "You're gonna look like a cow," and I was like, "No, I'm not getting that type of piercing."
And it's not all septum piercings, but hers in particular, I was not a fan of. But
Interesting.
Yeah, I wasn't getting good vibes
I
from her
do
at
think
all.
I do think she was hot. I do think she was attractive. She fits in with the type of women that the other wives fit in. Like they all fit a mold. You will notice, you know. I mean, so they all look very similar in that regard.
I think that like
Oh God, what?
no, I was just thinking how I feel like Jen is kind of like I don't know, she's kind of like spacey, airheaded like.
Hmm.
She's like, "Oh, I liked all of her answers. Yeah, I think everything, yes." I'm like, "Really? Are you like that not in tune with what the reality of the situation is?" Dannielle is growing more and more on me.
She
I am starting
is,
to like Dannielle more and more. Like this girl's got like some sort of sense.
but what sister wife of hers let her go into her interview wearing two different lashes, two different size lashes?
I don't think it's two different lashes. It happened to me where I didn't glue one correctly, and so one got flipped up because it got glued higher on the
Well,
lid. Like
whatever's happening in her eyelashes needed to be fixed, and nobody told her.
no,
That's some bullshit right there.
I know.
That's a
Yeah.
bullshit.
Mhm.
Well, as we said, like it oftentimes production won't tell you that because it makes better comments if
Right.
you
No,
don't
and
look
no
perfect.
production's not going to tell her.
Yeah.
But a sister wife,
They might
mean,
have done
maybe
the
that goes
interviews
to
at a
the-
different time. And
like,
Yeah.
I'm going to throw
They-
her under the bus, right?
They used
Like,
to separate us all the time and not let us speak to one another when they did our on the fly interviews, so we wouldn't know what the other person was saying
yeah.
or
Yeah, they
look
would do
like
that.
or
They would grab us immediately
after a
to do-
scene. Yeah.
for OTF so that
Yep.
we couldn't talk to each other.
Yep.
all
Oh,
right.
they know what they're doing. Production are the sneakiest of them all.
I will say though that because she's like all dolled up, that probably wasn't an on the fly. It was probably like a longer term interview.
Right,
So,
right,
but
right.
that, which also means she probably wasn't around the other sister wives because they were probably doing that like all day.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of the day, she like there was nobody but production. See,
Yeah.
that sucks that she didn't have anybody on her side to tell her that.
Yeah. I
That
know.
all of the people that there had to have been 8 million people around her to make this interview happen, and not a single one of them was on her side to tell her, "Oh, hey, fix your eyelashes."
Remember
Nobody?
when we talked to Wes about his hair being out of place in that one scene?
Oh yeah.
And it was funny because it was airing today. Had it on the background when I was doing
Oh, I
something
haven't
else.
watched it yet. It aired last night.
Yeah, he was like
haven't
all
watched
over
it
my
yet.
TV today. I was gonna text him, and then I just got
So where are
distracted.
you? Where are you? Where are they now?
Yeah, so I didn't pay attention, but it made me think about the hair incident where he's like, nobody told me. Nobody, not one person told me I had this one little like strand of hair, like just like or whatever. Good old Wes.
I love Wes. My 600-pound life.
Oh, I
Wes.
love it.
He had
Yeah,
he had an
I rem-
update episode on last night, and I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, that's fun. I
So,
just remember at one point I like literally got out of the shower. It was like 10 at night or something, which is pretty much when we all showered because it was the only time like we had free time to do that. And like I literally got out of the showers in my pajamas and they're like, we're gonna mic you up for something. And I was like, I don't have a bra on. Like I'm in my pajamas. Where are you gonna put it? And they're like, oh, we'll just put it on your pants. I'm like, what? So they just like I had like soaking wet hair. Like I hadn't done anything. Like I literally
nice.
and it
Mhm.
aired. Like it was the scene where like Claudia lost her mind and like said I was a kid because I was 35 at the time and like and I'm like to this day I'm like I had like soaking wet hair, I was in pajamas, I had glasses on and I was like what is happening? Anyway,
Oh man.
good times.
I thought of you today, Becca, on that because you had your medication cooler there with the
Yeah.
cooler things, and she ate the things. The
Yeah.
drug company for my new MS medication was like, "We're sending you a cooler so when you travel, you can take your meds because it has to be refrigerated." And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna get the same one as Becca did."
Your drug coolers.
I'm like,
Oh
I
my
get a
God.
drug cooler.
Oh my gosh. I don't even use that same medication anymore, so I don't need a drug cooler in the same way, but like but it was just really funny because like at the time they really did look like ice packs if you didn't know what they were, but like I had used it, like I had taken it out multiple times because Claudia like wanted to ice an injury and I was like, "Oh, I got my ice packs from my cooler."
Oh,
So like it had been around like multiple times.
and she just never
She just
even
never clocked it.
never put two and two together. Just
Apparently
to educate those listening who don't know what we're talking about, on Becca's show, Lost Resort, Last Resort.
Lost
You wanna
resort,
say
you're right.
Oh, I was right this time. They um one of her fellow cast members ate one of her ice cooler
Ice pack.
ice
Ice
pack
pack,
thing that
yeah.
goes in the medication cooler, but it's not good, thinking it was a popsicle or something.
Right.
How do you not know, like when you put it in your mouth, that it's not?
Well, she spit it out immediately, right? Like she took a bite and like spit it out. And like
Yeah.
this is the whole debate. So like this is more than everyone needs to know. But
Oh,
like
right, because like they turned into a big deal. All this,
yeah,
like,
it
oh my
turned
god,
into
I'm
a
gonna
big deal
die, and it's
later.
like you didn't even ingest it.
Right, right. And so like I don't know if I told you all this, but there was a video that went viral like a couple years after the show aired where some dude in Canada just did like a bunch of commentary about it and like had a clickable title. It was like something like "Oops, they made a cult, lost resort" or something.
Oh God.
And it periodically just gets back into the algorithm, and like I'll find out because I'll get the email that's like someone commented on my pinned post because he got some of the facts wrong, and like I didn't find it. I was like literally I was living in New York City at the time, and I was seeing Funny Girl on Broadway, and like wasn't looking at my phone, and then on like intermission I picked up my phone and my phone was blowing up because like multiple people had found this YouTube video.
Oh my God.
So they're
And
like, oh
so
my God.
yeah, and so I literally wrote like a whole post about like, hey, just want to clarify some things or whatever. And to his credit, like the creator like pinned the post, which was really cool.
Nice.
And so like periodically I still get like comments on that post. But like what's really interesting about it is like the one thing that people didn't like that I talked about was the ice pack incident because I literally was like, yo, like she spit it out, like it was 10 hours later, like Veron, who's an EMT, was like telling us all that like she probably would have had a reaction by now, like right,
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
said all that stuff.
All the
And
logical, medical, scientific stuff. Yeah.
right. And they're all like, oh, production failed her, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, everyone knew what happened like by breakfast that day, and everyone was watching her. Like, we have a medic on staff. Like, it wasn't like they failed her, right? And also,
Mm-mm.
like, she spit it out. So,
Right.
like,
Like it was fine.
right, right. Like,
It was
clearly
a
fine.
funny incident. I thought it
Yeah,
was funny.
it was really, it was, I mean, after everything went down, like, it was pretty
Yeah.
fun.
Which we can
But
say
like,
now because it all turned out okay.
right, right. But like people were like writing back and being like, I'm so disappointed in you that you like would like, she could have died. And I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, she and I still laugh about it to this day. So
Yeah, because you guys are still friends now.
yeah,
So
yeah. Well, the best part was I was like, I still need that to fly home. Um, so production was like, we'll figure something out. So like they disappeared with it for like half a week, and then they came back and they had taped it shut and wrote on the tape, "Do not eat."
oh my God.
Not
Okay.
eat.
Anyway,
Great.
random story.
All right. Well, when mine arrives in the mail, via FedEx, because they like FedEx me everything, this drug company, like, because they make millions and billions of dollars, right? So like I got a FedEx today from them that was literally, it was this big. It's a notebook. It's supposed to be my Kisimto wellness notebook. Like it's like
Oh.
this like pocket-sized notebook that they FedExed from fucking Chicago. So like like what? Okay, thanks. That was really necessary to FedEx that. I got the other day a new Sharps container, which I needed, which is fine. But this thing is like this gigantic thing. I'm like, where am I gonna put this thing? Like I don't need it. Like, what?
Wow, that's
I had
weird.
one that was like a fraction of the size that lasted me
Well,
probably 6-7 years.
maybe they're like, this is how long we're going to keep you on our drug for. You need all the needles in this
I'm
container.
like, I didn't expect one that large.
That's what she
mean-
said. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm 39. I'm sorry. Did you know I'm the same age as Garrick and I'm making that's what she said jokes?
Just the tip.
Just the
I'm
tip.
40 and I just made that another penis joke, so we're fine.
Yeah.
So, Katrina, when you do get your ice packs for your travel cooler for your
All right,
drugs,
do not eat on it.
I wanna like tape one of them and write "Do not eat" on it. for
Okay,
you.
okay. I'll make sure.
You can write it in Spanish too. And we can do multiple languages just in case
Yes.
anybody else needs to know.
Needs to know.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, back to the show.
Oh, okay. Merrifields.
Merrifields.
So the judge,
Terryfields. Wait, the Terrifieds?
The Terrified family
The
and garlic,
Terrifieds.
right? Garrick turned into
Yes.
garlic.
Well, now I'm in
Garlic.
Google Docs. I'm in Google Docs and it's not auto correcting me like that in Google Docs. So
Oh, right.
that's
Okay.
the good part. I started that today. I figured it out.
Figured
Such a
out Google
boomer.
Docs.
Well, I
Yeah,
figured
had
out
to
how to.
figure that out a few years ago.
I've been using Word, people. Okay.
I know. I still use Word for work purposes. Like that's still my preferred
Yeah,
word processing.
yeah, but here we are in Google Docs. So the judge decided not to marry Garrick and Nathalia because he found out that they're in a polygamous relationship.
So
And-
I went down the rabbit hole on this too. Hold on.
I love it when Rebecca. Why do I always call
Wow.
you Rebecca?
My
You call her
parents don't
Miss
even call me
Miss
Rebecca.
Miss
Did I call you
Rebecca?
Miss Rebecca? No,
Miss
Miss.
Rebecca.
Miss.
Miss. Thank you, Miss.
Okay, so because Garrick apparently didn't feel the need to look up polygamy rules in
Brazil.
Brazil, I did for him. So according to the internet, in Brazil, bigamy is illegal. The marriage of a single individual to more than one other person is prohibited by law as bigamy, which is punishable by 2 to 6 years of imprisonment and is valid for every Brazilian citizen, including naturalized ones. De facto polygamy is not outlawed, though.
So, because he's not
So-
married anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Legally.
I would consider that de facto, but apparently it's up to the judge.
Is it up to the judge?
I
Or
gue- I
are
mean,
they
it
lying
was-
to us on TV?
I don't know. I mean,
Is the reality TV show lying to us?
Do you want me to find some sort of lawyer that knows like Brazilian? Maybe I can
No,
find. Like,
no, because I don't think it matters. We know what the law is. I mean, that's easy to find. The question is what Garrick told us that the judge said actually the reason why they didn't get married?
yeah.
That's what
said
I
it
always
too
question.
later.
Mm.
Well, and Natalia said it later too, when her friends were there. So
Yeah, but that's
I
the
don't know.
story that they gave for the show. Maybe
Yeah, I don't know.
maybe that's not
Speaking
the
of
real
her,
reason.
her friends, that one chick was definitely not her friend. It was like a production translator. I'm convinced.
Oh, the one that was translating the whole time.
Yeah. I'm convinced she knew nothing about the situation. Was hired to just translate.
All right, so talk us through this scene, Lexi.
Okay. All right. So Garrick said Natalia's depressed and devastated because she thought she was pregnant and that they were purposely trying to have a child, which did not happen. And then, of course, Dannielle shows up
And then
pregnant when they
Dannielle
weren't
turns up
trying.
pregnant.
Yeah.
When they weren't trying.
Not on purpose.
Right. And they all decide to go to the doctor's office, which again was total bullshit and just for TV, to see the ultrasound of the baby.
It's
and
like, oh, sorry, you can't get
fetus.
married. Let's go look at my baby.
Yeah.
And honestly, she looked further along than she was probably what, four months maybe, based on what I could see. What do I know? I'm not a, but I mean, you could see the full positioning and everything. It had to be under 5. I don't know. Anyways, so it was a very awkward moment to me. I don't know how you guys felt about watching the scene, but Nathalia seemed like she was trying to be supportive, but I feel like it was super fake. I don't know.
Well, like, okay, so they set this up as the scene, and then they talk about it a little bit later that Natalia is all sad and depressed about not being able to marry Garrick, although I think it's less not getting to marry Garrick, and it's less Garrick than it is green card, but whatever. So she can't get that, so she's all bummed, but then she has to go to this appointment with Dannielle, and she's kind of depressed because she's not pregnant, even though they've been trying, and obviously that's a very difficult situation for someone to be in.
They've been trying for 6 weeks. What? That's one cycle? Like
what?
Exactly.
I'm not I'm saying that as a general because I don't want to get canceled.
Of course, right.
In general,
of course.
I don't think this particular couple, like, that was really too big of an issue. But I think in general, like, that can be difficult, right?
Definitely.
So, I mean, but their whole thing is so awkward anyway, because it's like Dannielle's coming, there's no wedding. They're allegedly finding out the day before the wedding. Dannielle and Natalia like don't talk to each other, even though Natalia apparently speaks really pretty good English.
Out of nowhere, she understands
and she
everything.
and Garrick have been boinking for nonstop for the last 6 weeks. So this whole thing is very weird, right?
Yeah.
Like Natalia thought she was getting like her and as Dannielle says later, like Natalia's kind of like not used to this monogamy or the polygamy aspect of it. Like, she's been living with Garrick as a monogamous couple because Garrick's been ignoring Dannielle, ignoring Big Wife. So new little wife. They've been having the thing. So she suddenly has to like watch her boy toy green card ticket to the States be all happy about this new baby on the way. And although Garrick didn't look all that happy about the whole situation, he was just like, he looked like the way he was told when he was, the look on his face when he was told that she was pregnant is the same look he had on his face when they saw the baby. It was like almost like he was like, oh, damn, there really is a baby. It's real. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They even said that too. It was like, oh, it's really real.
Fucking,
Like, yeah, there's a
fucking
baby there.
Garrick. Kids are a blessing from God. Yes, Garrick, they are, even if it's in the wrong woman. Okay.
Oh my god.
Wild. Yep.
I have questions. Are we done with the baby part and like talking about the party?
Yes.
I think
Baby
so, yeah.
part.
I didn't want to like go there prematurely. Haha. But I'll go there if we're done with the
Yeah,
previous
I
one.
think that was it.
Well,
on
there was
that.
actually one more part.
Oh, okay.
When they were talking to the friends at the party about the baby, Nathalia said that she was trying not to ruin the moment of them seeing the baby, but Garrick didn't talk to her, so she was upset.
Right.
That
Oh
was
yeah,
the last,
because
like,
he was like,
Oh yeah. And
I
then
don't know,
Dannielle
giving
is
his
like,
wife attention to his pregnant wife that's having an ultrasound. Sorry.
and wasn't sad about the wedding being canceled.
Yeah. And then Dannielle was like, yo, like I saw him talking to you. Like you guys cried together. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was just gonna say, like, the party was just so freaking weird because, like, obviously they set it up where it's like, oh, there's no like this was to celebrate the marriage and the wedding, and like that didn't happen. So, whatever, they're just here to comfort us. And I was like, that's a weird premise for a party.
Yeah.
So I have many questions about that party. Okay, so they show a clip of Natalia talking about she did the dress and and the makeup and stuff. If they were planning to have a party back at the house,
No, she
gonna
said
be
she
a
rented out a restaurant.
oh is that where they were?
And it was only
No.
supposed to be for family. Like the wedding
Right.
was like, it sounded like it was just a small family
I
situation.
thought okay, so maybe I misheard it because I thought he was saying that okay, we were originally going to have this party celebrating the wedding, but since we didn't get married, they're just coming over anyway. Like they were having the event like you know what I mean? Like I didn't realize that it was they were planning something separate from what they were at. Like
Oh
I
yeah,
thought it
I
was
think he just meant like, oh, we're gonna have a party, and like now the party is just people coming to our apartment.
got
being
it instead of
impressed
at
with
the
us,
restaurant.
basically.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I was like, because if they were planning this party, it was a really shitty party because there's no decorations, there's no food. Like what are they doing? But your explanation makes way more sense.
Mhm.
So anyway,
It was weird because they kept cutting to like clips of the other friends that didn't say anything. And I was like, clearly these clips are not when the translating is happening, so they know what's happening. So like half the time they're like splicing in clips where people don't even know what's happening because it's not in their native language. It was so weird.
yeah, the whole
Mhm.
thing was weird and awkward and oh yeah, this is my soon to be husband and his wife, and we're all gonna be a polygamous happy family, except that I can't get married and she's pregnant and I'm
Oh,
not.
and let's hash out our like relationship issues in front of all
Oh
these
yeah,
random people.
Yeah.
Danielle, why doesn't she like me?
It was just weird.
It
Like
was very
just like,
weird.
I was like, I wouldn't want to just sit there and like cry my eyes out in front of people I just met. Like, I don't, it was just
Right,
Well,
and
this is
then-
Danielle. You have to remember at the end of last season, we have phone recording of her. But she was my sister. When she was having like that complete breakdown and her head was spinning around and she was spitting pea soup.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
I don't think she cares much about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
She's willing to be that way on camera. Anyway,
Yeah. It was just weird. It was the whole
Super
thing was
weird.
the whole thing was weird. So yeah, like her asking to Natalia, like, why don't you like me? And she's like, oh, just take time. Like, we'll get there. Like, chill.
I also wondered about like the liberties that the friend who was translating took.
Yes.
Because there was one time where like Nathalia went through this whole thing where she was like, I was having a bad day because like I found out we weren't getting married and we weren't pregnant, and then like Dannielle, we were going to see the baby, and like that was a good day for her, and like I felt like we didn't really get to talk. And then the translator changed it to she felt ignored by you, and I was like, that's
Yeah.
not what she said.
Yeah, like she's doing the friend thing while she's translating, but she's also like analyzing.
Yeah, and I was
for
like,
you.
that's not what she said. She just said she wanted to have more talking. Like she didn't say she felt ignored necessarily. Like it was
Right.
just interesting to me.
Yes.
hmm Well, then after the eventful party, they go out to dinner on Garrett. Well, maybe it was the same night. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. It was so boring. They go out to dinner to celebrate Garrick's birthday.
Oh yeah, but it's my birthday.
Yeah, which I'm still shocked that he's the same age as me in the scene. I can't even. I really thought he was older than me.
You think he was so excited about his birthday because he was like birthday blowjobs? Like, do you think like for his birthday he's like, I want both of you at the same time? 'Cause,
maybe.
men are stupid,
Yeah.
like, you know what I
Well,
mean?
not according to the conversation they had, because he was like, "Can I be with you, Nathalia, one more night?"
Right. It's our last night.
Yeah.
And then, of
Yeah.
course, Danielle's like, yeah, like, so happy that he gets to spend his last night with her.
Yeah. Well, she has to tell herself that, right?
Exactly.
In order to be okay with it. All
Mm-hmm.
part of her conditioning, right?
Yep. And that was pretty much the end of that.
Y'all, I'm really glad we talked about other things, because we would have finished that episode in like 20 minutes.
I know, right? I
Mhm.
know. I know. Well, if you guys stuck with us, thank you. We appreciate it,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right, kids. All right, thanks for listening. We'll be back soon. Because there's more. There's always more. All right, bye guys.